I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners regular meeting for September 23rd, 2020. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lees.
Here.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
I would like to ask Commissioner Zimmerman if she would lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
Flag. Republic for which.
All right, is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda? Motion by Commissioner Andrus, second by Vice President Rogers. All in favor of proceeding with the agenda before you and up on the screen, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward with that agenda. Consent items. Is there a motion to move into the record the consent items listed in the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees. Was there a second? Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. The consent items include the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes of August 26, the Board of Commissioners workshop meeting minutes of September 9, the Treasurer's report for the month of September, and the bills payable, paid bills in the amount of $577,594.82, and unpaid bills in the amount of $760,071.47. With that, I'll call a question. All in favor of moving those items into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. Okay, citizens' comments. Anyone who wants to make fun of the Steelers, please step forward, feel free. You will get a rousing round of applause from everyone, maybe not from everyone.
For the record, there's 2 Steelers masks in the audience and 0 Eagles masks, so things are going well in Hatfield.
That equals their records as well.
Add
that in.
Oh, there is an
There
Eagles
we go.
mask.
Thank you.
Right.
2 to 1.
Shall I escort her from the room?
And if those of you don't know, we're going to be discussing personnel right after this meeting. That's a joke. I'm teasing. Right, Ms. Solicitor, I'm just joking. That was not it. All right, seeing no other citizens' comments, we have a special item tonight. And so before I ask those people who are being honored, I'm going to announce what it is first, and then I'm going to come down to the podium and then have you come up. But we'll socially distance you and keep it safe. But it came to our attention, especially in the last primary, that some of the most unsung heroes in Hatfield Township are the poll workers in all 5 wards, wards 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so we thought that it would be a nice gesture to recognize the poll watchers, and in doing so, bring them here to a meeting. We have a proclamation for each one of you. And tonight, just because we didn't want to try and bring everyone in and crowd the room and have too many people in one smaller location, tonight is recognition of poll workers from wards 1, 2, and 3. And at our next meeting, it will be at wards 4 and 5. So, having said that, I'm going to go down to the podium. We have a proclamation that I'm going to read, and then I'll ask each of you to come up, and we want to thank you. Okay, so we didn't rehearse this in the sense that entirely I know how to bring each of you up, but I think probably best for those of you who look like you're together, you come up together, and then for those of you who just come up individually, you're here individually, we'll just bring you up. But let me kind of expand upon what I said just a moment ago. For those of you who don't know or have just never really thought about it, when you go to the polls, the people who are there, they get paid some small stipend, but the truth is it's essentially a voluntary position. Some of the folks have been there for decades, and they've been there for years. And I'm a commissioner. I've had the privilege of being a commissioner for Ward 4 for a number of years, and so I'm often at the polls and have gotten to know the people at the polls. And I have to tell you, not only is there camaraderie of the people who work inside, but then they have this great friendship with the people who are regularly on the outside. And so most people will know this. The polls open at 7 a.m., close at 8 p.m., but they don't show up at 6:50 or 6, just a couple of minutes before. Some of them are there a couple of hours before, and that doesn't even include the training that goes on in advance of the actual day. Then now let's skip past all of the other things that they do during the day, which is to safeguard our democracy, and jump to the end of the evening, which people often will forget about, which I'm sure is probably the most difficult time for them, because after many, many hours of being in one location, they now have to close everything down, pack everything up, but most importantly is count correctly the votes and then report it. And I've stayed many times after the polls have closed and watched all of this happen. I've never stayed to the very end, but I've got to assume that many of them are staying probably until 10 o'clock or more. So you're looking at a night that at the latest starts, at the latest starts at 6 a.m. and goes until 10 a.m., plus all the, like I said, all the other training that is involved. But what struck me in particular this year, and why I'd like to tell you that I think this year of all years we wanted to recognize you, is because in the primary in my ward, I walked into this gym. Everyone has got a mask, and it's still early during the pandemic, so it's not easy to hold it. You get better at having a mask on, but still people are masked up the entire day, hand sanitizer, gloves, protocols, something that we've never seen in our history. And not a single person was grumbling or griping. I walked in the door later in the evening, and it was as if it was like any other voting day. Hey, Tom, how you doing? Glad you came out to vote. And they treated everybody with respect and civility. Add to that in our poll anyway, it felt like it was about 100 degrees. And I felt as though I needed to leave the room because I wasn't going to last very long with the mask on. And I thought, how in the world can these folks do this for 10 hours, 11 hours or more today, and then have to ensure, like I said, that our democracy is safeguarded. They do it with a smile on their face, they do it accurately, they do it professionally, and from time to time, unfortunately, they will have to deal with people's problems, and they deal with it very well. So that's just a little bit of the background of why we wanted to say thank you. It is long overdue. It is undoubtedly, you're the unsung heroes of the democratic process in Hatfield. And for that reason, we put together a proclamation for each of you to bring home with you. And it's just a small way that we can say thank you. And we hope that you stay involved, because we also know that there's not many people who are willing to give the way that you do, and we really appreciate it. So our proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners desires to recognize the brave and civic-minded individuals who diligently serve the community as poll workers in Hatfield Township. And whereas poll workers play a crucial role in ensuring the strength and integrity of the voting process. And whereas poll workers are the lifeblood of a well-run polling place, and they help secure our rights as United States citizens. And whereas this year has presented more challenging and unique circumstances due to the global pandemic and the presidential election. And whereas the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners want to express our sincere appreciation for all of your hardworking, dedicated poll workers who so thoroughly perform the duties and make the election process run so smoothly in our Hatfield community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, in accordance with the foregoing, that the Board of Commissioners of Hatfield Township does hereby endorse this proclamation as recognition and thanks to the Hatfield Township poll workers for their commitment and dedication to the democratic process, proclaimed and presented this 23rd day of September 2020. For all of you, a great round of applause, a big thank you. You do a great job. So why don't I just kind of direct folks to come up and say that. And if any of you if I missed anything of anyone who deserves an opportunity to say something at the microphone at you, if you'd like to even say your name or how long you've been doing it or anything that you think is relevant to being a poll watcher, poll worker, feel free to do it. Otherwise, that's fine too. Most people come up here and they say, why would I ever want to speak into that thing? We understand that too. So why don't we start right here?
I'm Linda Roberts, and I'm Majority Inspector for Hatfield 1-2. I've been doing this for many, many years. I worked for Representative Godshall for 27 years. I've been a committee woman for about 24 years. And I just would love working in the polls. Why do I love it? I love talking to people, seeing the neighbors every election, and I think it's very rewarding. Thank you for having this.
Thank you. I forgot to mention, just so you have to understand the camaraderie, thank you, by the way, thank you very much. Thank you, to understand the camaraderie, when I go to the polls, it is very common for the Ward 4 folks, you know, inside and outside, and those of you who work the polls know what I mean. We regularly will say, okay, who's getting the coffee? All right, who's getting the donuts? And what I think is a great sign of friendship and camaraderie, especially for that day, is that we have so much food left over, and inside they make their own food. They bring like a chili sauce and everything else. They make their own food inside, and then we bring donuts. The point in the fact that there is so much food left over, it's because so many people want to bring something as some form of generosity towards the others, that I kind of get a kick out of it. When you have 3 dozen donuts left over, that means at least a few people said, you know what, let me pick this up for the folks, just so that they have something. So just a good example. So
Commissioner Zipfel,
yes.
could we have their names at least? Do we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
names?
I don't hear that.
And the ward?
Bruce and Gail Hoffman, and what ward are you in? That's fine. It doesn't matter. You're Hatfield. All right, who's next? Anyone? Pop right up.
Ward 2.
Maybe I should call people up by ward. I told you it wasn't rehearsed. Do you want
Two,
do you want to
District 1.
do you want to say your name?
I am the judge, I'm Jane Sobolowski. I am the judge, Jane Sobolowski of Hatfield 2-1.
I'm the judge.
Lawrence, for two
May I
operator.
step in? I didn't want to be rude, but start working for us just this past election. Let me tell you what a wonderful job she did. And in everything, after every. Nobody complained, and my right-hand woman.
I'm Kathy Monteagle, again, Ward 2-1. I'm minority clerk. And by the way, I live in Upper Gwinnett Township, but I like working with these guys, and I bring the donuts.
All right, any other Ward 2 poll workers? All right. Okay, Ward 1. I know this masked woman. I've been trying to get her back for months now. Those of you that can't tell behind the mask, this is Commissioner Laura Thomas.
I just wanted to speak real quickly because Mr. Brasky is here as well. And when we had a primary election in June, actually, we were missing a judge of elections for Ward 1-1. And Bill jumped in and he took over and everything went smoothly that day. So I want to say thanks, Bill.
Sure. It is your night. You can say whatever you like.
In addition to cookies and donuts and coffee and water, we give out lollipops to the grown-ups when they leave, and they look forward to it. But unfortunately, we couldn't do it in the primary, we can't do it again in the general, but they asked us, where's my lollipop? And we said, oh, it's not here this time around, maybe next year. But anyway, we give lollipops too.
And stickers that say I voted. That's right. So, all right, so we did Ward 1. Anyone else from
Got
Ward
a
1?
haircut.
Bill, come on up.
Yes, I was the instant judge of elections this past primary, walking in and not realizing I was going to be judge of elections, but that's okay. I had done it once before, so I wasn't totally unprepared. But I live, it's Ward 1-1, and I live in Calmer, which is actually part of Hatfield Township. So Thank you.
All right, Ward 1, we got everybody? 2, we got everybody? 3. Just come on up. When you're a regular township meeting person, you just get to come up whenever you want.
Hi, my name is Joanne Grassang, and I just moved back to Calmer 3 years ago from California, and I decided to. Terry Peck asked me to work at the pole at what's this school on?
Ward 4. Terry Peck is Ward 4.
4, whatever Penndale High School is, or Penfield.
Penfield Middle School.
Penfield Middle School, and I said sure. Had no idea what I was doing. Well, you set up Monday night. You know, that's a couple of hours just to set up. Then you get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, right on time, and then the people start coming in at 7, and it is non-stop. You take time to go for lunch. Well, I should say you eat at your desk, but you can go to the side, and then that's it. Then at 7 o'clock, then you have to count everything and make sure your numbers match anybody else's number. So it's at least a 12-hour day. You know, from 7 in the morning till, more than 12 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's a 13-hour day, but it was fun. I'm going to do it this year. Thank you.
All right, Ward 3. 4. 5. Nobody? I thought we had a few more.
Next meeting.
Oh, no, I know that, but I thought we had a few more hands came up when we started. Okay. All right, well, look, thank you. We can't thank you enough for that. That is one of the most selfless acts of volunteerism that we have in the township, and we hope that many people follow your lead. And so, on behalf of the entire board, thank you. We hope that you do it for many more years, and you're greatly appreciated. Okay, for those of you who want to run out the door because the rest of the meeting might not be as exciting, we understand. But you are encouraged to stay around as long as you like. All right, we're going to get down to our action items. We just have a few tonight. First is our liquor license transfer that was held, our hearing was held last meeting. Is there a motion for approval with regard to Resolution 20-22 for the liquor license transfer for ShopRite 40-Foot Road?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrews, second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments? For those of you who are not with us at the last meeting, there was a full hearing on the license itself. Questions were asked of the applicant, and this is a part of the process. It's a two-step process where they present and then we approve, presumably. Seeing no questions or comments from anyone, I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 20-22, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Resolution 20-23, is there a motion for approval with regard to the North Penn Business Park Land Development, 1000 North Cannon Avenue? Moved. Motion by Commissioner Andrews.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Aaron or Ken, is someone?
Probably like Ken give an overview. I'll fill in some gaps as needed.
Thank you. This is a resolution to grant preliminary and final land development approval for the North Penn Holdings application. This is the old American Olean Tile property, about 27 acres of which is located in Hatfield Township. And I'm sure the board recalls that there was a public hearing to consider a settlement agreement earlier in the summer. There was then a rezoning hearing, both of which were concluded by the board. And now this is the last step. This is the land development approval. The result of the land development approval, should it be approved by the board, would be about 28,000 square feet of new construction in Hatfield Township, along with some parking and circulation areas and 2 detention basins. The bulk of the project is located within Lansdale Borough and has already been approved by Lansdale Borough. The project contemplates correcting some stormwater issues and supplementing some buffer plantings along the Logan Drive area. I think the project is on the screen behind me. Portion that's Hatfield Township is
And here's the municipal line is roughly here. This
Roughly
this
there.
is the 28,000 square feet right
That's
here.
the 28,000 square feet located in Hatfield Township. This larger rectangle is a retention basin over here. Our fields, and then there is an existing area that I'm outlining and some parking and a new driveway that comes around the front of the new building and around the existing building. That's the extent of the new development within Hatfield Township, and the land development approval and the settlement agreement that we've reached with North Penn Holdings limits the construction and development within Hatfield Township to just what you see on this plan. The plan's been reviewed by the township engineer, by the township traffic engineer, by the township landscape architect, and by the county planning commission. All of those groups have recommended it for approval. Our planning commission also recommended the project for approval, and the Planning and Zoning Committee considered this at their last meeting and has also understood that the project is ready for approval. So I think the applicant is here. Their attorney is Amy Farrell. She's here this evening along with their engineer, Mike Kaczynski, and a representative from North Penn Holdings, TJ Miller. I'm sure Amy might want to say a few words regarding the application, and I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Commissioners, I just have a few other items I think the residents would be interested in hearing, and all of us that travel in this area. Lansdale Borough did approve these plans last Wednesday, and one thing that, in addition to the project here, that the applicant will be installing is a traffic signal at 8th and Moyer. I think we've all probably struggled to make that left over the years. So that'll be an improvement that I know was important to the borough. Obviously, it's not in Hatfield, but it's still something our residents deal with regularly. So that's something else that will be coming along with this project.
I can also report that I've drafted the approval resolution, which is for your consideration tonight. It has been reviewed by Amy. We negotiated the terms of it. They've accepted it. It's signed. So it's ready for your approval as well.
Right, go ahead.
The only question I have is the existing building, is there anything being added to that?
Not in Hatfield. I figured I'd let Amy stay where she was, so
Fine.
there's not much more to it.
Yep. All right, any other questions? Questions, comments? All right, I will call the question. All in favor of Resolution 20-23, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Action item number 3, is there a motion for approval of the police car purchase, a 2020 Ford Explorer in the amount of $37,999?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees, second by Vice President Rogers. Aaron, you can field this, or I mean,
Sure.
this is a housekeeping item. I'm going to steal your thunder and tell me if I'm wrong. It's already budgeted, and when we have capital items like this, we place them on our budget so that the best practice is to vote on them publicly.
Yes, sir.
I get it right?
Perfect.
One other note is that we were budgeted for 2
Sir.
and only buying 1 this year, correct?
Correct.
As a result of the pandemic, not unsure what it will do to our finances.
Correct. One other, just as a heads up on a similar topic, Commissioners, we understand a little bit more about our financial position as we head into the fall. Commissioner Andrus has done a great job of outlining that as we've dealt with this pandemic. So there's this one capital purchase for the police for this year. There'll be a capital purchase coming your way as well for the Public Works Department that had been budgeted as we're looking at 21 and what the budget then. There's a piece of equipment that is needed this fall to do some of the projects that we've committed to for residents. So we felt like it would make sense to purchase that this year and then just not have to budget it next year. So in the end, it's a wash as far as the expense would be the same. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. That's coming our way most likely in October. But this is the only capital purchase for 20 for the police, like Commissioner Andrus and President Ziffel said.
All right, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Last action item. Is there a motion for approval with regard to the Cowpath or Villa Road realignment project? Its payment to Blooming Glen contractors in the amount of $403,935.69.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Rogers. Aaron, do you want to give us an update on that?
Yeah, sure, Mr. President, Commissioners. One thing that's important to note here, all of these expenses that we've approved now over the last several months were over $1 million now. All of it, 100% of it will be reimbursed to the township from PennDOT. Township received a roughly $2 million grant to do the construction of the realignment of this intersection. So we're approving a lot of big, significant numbers that are, as you see tonight, it's half of our list of bills, but that's all coming back to the local taxpayers. So that's important to note. Other details I think the residents want to know, because we've heard a lot about it since our last meeting. Construction has not picked up over the last few weeks of the intersection. There was a gas line issue, and the utility company Enbridge, which is a lot of us know it as the Texas Eastern Gas Line, is coordinating with Blooming Glen. We're in the understanding that they'll be out there Friday, maybe even tomorrow, Monday. It's very hard. There are a lot of moving parts to this. So once they get back out there, once you start seeing some activity, we hope to see the project completed pretty quickly shortly thereafter. But we've just had a little bit of a snag here, and we should get that back rolling quickly. But that's the reason why. There's been many conspiracy theories out there. It's not that exciting. It's just a field issue.
All right.
So do we have a tentative date as to when they're going to be shutting down?
I knew you were going to ask him that.
Completion, when they're going to be shutting down our Villa Road?
I would imagine the detour will begin at some point next week.
Got it. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is also approved. Okay, folks, citizens' comments. Rises for citizens' comments. We can have more than one person at the podium.
Hi everyone, my name's Sierra. I've been a Hatfield resident for about 4 years now. I've lived in the Lansdale area for much longer. So Tina and I are up here tonight to give you a proposal towards the committee. In addition to the coronavirus, in recent months, many of us have sort of witnessed that racism is still very much alive and well in our local communities and throughout the country. And something that's sort of been a trend, not just locally, but really across the country, is sort of dedicating murals or some sort of memorial to Black Lives Matter, equality, solidarity, something of that sort. So what Tina and I are proposing tonight is to create a mural somewhere in Hatfield that is really a tribute to diversity, inclusivity, equality. So we as a community can really take a definitive stand for what we believe and what we stand for as a community, that we do not want racism, injustice, police brutality in our town. So Tina's going to go a little bit more into detail about what that would look like, but thank you all. That is why we were here. Thank you.
I'm Tina Sowitz on Claremont Drive, and I've been a resident of Hatfield for 1,000,000 years. So, my part is to explain to you the idea, the concept, some details about what we've come up with that we think might benefit the Hatfield Township community. Aaron? So my idea was that we would use the wall that is by the pool or the aquatic center. We think that this would be a very good area where it would be seen by many people, by many different people. It's also a wall that sort of needs a little repair. So, so I kind of thought that this could be like a twofer. The wall could be repaired and we could have the mural on the whole wall. Now, I did take some time to go to the wall and measure it. So this is, as you can see, a very, very big wall. It's very long. I ran out of tape measure, so as best as I can, and maybe John Wolf can do better or Aaron, but the length of the wall is about 226 feet long, and at least. When I ran out of tape measure, I just put 1 foot in front of the other and continued counting. So it's my guesstimate estimate. Also, at some parts of the wall, it's about 3 foot high, 3 foot 5 inches, 3 foot 6 inches, 3 foot 7 inches, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of area to work with. And what we are thinking about doing is having very positive words on it so that it would depict what the community represents. It would also be an example of the kinds of residents that are in Hatfield Township. So some of the words that would be on it would be words of positive nature. So it would be dignity, honor, love. I have a whole list, but I won't read the whole list tonight. So what we are hoping to do is look for local artists who might be interested in doing something like this. We're not sure if we want to keep it to Hatfield Township or if we want to extend it beyond Hatfield Township. That's a possibility. I think it would be, nice if we kept it within Hatfield Township. We want to open it to everybody, anybody who has any kind of artistic ability, any groups, police, if somebody's artistic in the police force. This is something that we think would unite our community a lot more than it is right now. And we also are thinking in terms of publicizing this. Now, we would publicize it either by social media, putting it out there, however the township, would be the most feasible to do. Then what would happen is we would start receiving, hopefully, we would start receiving some samples of artist illustrations. And then we would look through them, make a determination. We would certainly explain a bit of the concept that we want the words on there, but we also want, I was also thinking we could put something like Hatfield Strong to kind of go with the lawn signs that we already have, Hatfield Together, Hatfield Strong, something like that. And also to depict some of the activities that occur in Hatfield Township. When I went to measure the wall and I was photographing it, it hit me immensely that on one side, here's people playing basketball. On another side, there's more people playing basketball. Behind me was is Hatfield Village, and they were having little parties and playing in the playground. And there was another game going on, I'm not sure what it was, but there was so much activity. There were people walking, there was somebody jogging, and of course you all know I'm going to include somebody walking their dogs. So there were people walking the dogs, the dog park. There was so much going on, and I just thought this has got to be the place to do it because there was so much foot traffic, people stopping, people looking, people talking to each other, and I just thought this is such a unifying area. And when the pool reopens, more people will see it. So if we need your approval, but I strongly suggest that hopefully we can use this wall to do this project. And then of course, we'll narrow it down to those. We can have one artist, we can have 2, 3, or 4. I mean, it's a huge wall. I can't imagine one person doing this all together by themselves. So I'm hoping we can get a couple of people, and they'll all be on the same page, we'll all be on the same page, and then they'll all be able to come together and do this project on this wall. The other thing would be the material costs. We can go either way with, I don't know if maybe the township could pick up the tab on that. The artists, I would hope, would volunteer their time, but that's something else that can be up for discussion, whether they receive a stipend or not. So that's something we can all come to at a later time, because this isn't going to happen overnight. But I certainly hope that it won't take forever. So hopefully we can get this done. And by the time the pool opens, by next year at least. So I know. Other than that, like I said, I won't read the whole list of words, but they're all positive, unifying, honor, unity. So this is what we would like to do, and we hope you will like to do it too.
So I know
Thank
that,
you.
I know that we knew a little bit about the presentation, but we have not discussed this publicly
Okay.
or I think really even privately, other than Aaron let probably each of us know at some point or another. So maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I think you have full support from the board entirely, and I think we're happy to go through the process with you entirely. And the cost associated with it, as you gather that, let us know, and then we can work that into factoring into what we can contribute towards it. If I'm
Okay.
saying something out of turn, any of you can disagree with me, but we think it's a great idea. We really do.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to add to another consideration is preservation of the wall, because I don't remember how long ago we had that painted, but it was only a couple of years ago, right? And I think it's fading a little bit already. So
It
that
is.
might be a part of the consideration of how do you preserve it after it's done. I'm sure the artists would know better than we would, but how can it be preserved beyond just, because otherwise 2 or 3 years from now, it could be just a washed out look.
There, another one that shows, because there's 4. Yeah, you can see,
It's archy up
you
there.
can see, yeah. See, and there's cracks, and there's a couple holes. I didn't want to bring that up, but.
Yes, but it's important if we
But
want it,
but
we
you
want it to
did,
last.
Tom, so-
Yeah, that's right. We want it to last. I know the organization that came and painted it white originally was Cal Sports, and I'm not sure who did the remainder of it, but that was only 2-3 years ago that they were here, and
Oh, wow.
they put the base white color on it, and that's fading already. So keep that in mind, for preservation purposes. 'Cause
Maybe we can put a sealer.
Right.
I don't know if they put it doesn't look like there's a sealer when I don't want to say I defaced township property, but I just took a chip to.
Sounds like you defaced township.
Hey, Chief, anyone take care of that?
But I think
All right, Chief.
I am comfortable saying you have full support from the board entirely.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
And we
you.
think it's a great idea. Thank you both for
Thank
coming
you.
up with
Yeah,
it.
I
Yeah,
guess,
we
the only
just-
comments I have, I would certainly want to review whatever's being put up there
Absolutely.
prior to it being
Oh,
up there.
sure.
Oh, yeah.
And it certainly needs to be non-political, nothing to do with religious type stuff.
No,
Um,
no,
So
no.
so as long as we're all on the same page there, I have no problem supporting it. And I believe you guys are going to get a group of individuals together to work on this?
Comment about that. So
Go
yes,
ahead.
we love the idea, and to sort of add on to that, we were also thinking of maybe bringing together a panel and having a forum that we can show on social media, since we can't have a live audience. But we want to bring in a group of residents to represent different groups that we all have, represent the diversity here in Hatfield. We want to represent, gender diversity, we want to represent age diversity, we want to represent ethnic diversity, and just sort of let these people come in and just speak of their life experiences. How what kind of life experiences do they have? Do you have any particular stories that you tell about your lives here in Hatfield? so that we can just sort of have a better understanding of each other, okay? And then we can, we're working on getting that panel together, and we're going to have some help with a moderator, a diversity trainer that the police department uses, and pull together 5 to 7 people to work to represent on the panel. And like I said, we'll film it, put it on social media so that the community can watch it. And then we're hoping too that maybe we can get some ideas from this panel to work towards that mural as well. Maybe they'll have some suggestions to best represent their community, that type of thing. So we're still working on confirming right now potential participants, panelists, and as soon as we get that all lined up, then, you know, we'll let everybody know, let the community know when we're going to have this forum and have this panel, so that, you know, we'll get it out there, like I said, on social media so that everybody can watch it. And hopefully we'll get some feedback too. We'd like to, even though we can't have an audience, we'd like to at least hopefully get some feedback, and maybe we could have a second gathering, and those people then can answer the questions that the but again, it's just building on that, you know, another way to unite and bring together to have better understanding of one another, because as we're all well aware, we've got quite a diverse community here in Hatfield, and we want to make sure that everybody's welcome. And this is one way of doing it. Let everybody explain who they are, what their background is, what they're all about, what their experiences in Hatfield is all about, and like that represents us all.
It would be so nice to have this in this location and have people walking by and look at it, stop and look at it and say, oh, I do that, I've done that, I used to do that, or I'm doing that now, or just some, you know, some recognition and connection. And that's what we were real big on, connection, and, you know, I keep going back to, you know, unity and unifying, because I just feel that people really need that right now. I think, you know, we all need that. And to walk by and recognize this, I think would just be something that somebody would need as they walk by and would see it.
Great idea. Yes, sir.
Yes, that's the plan.
To the commissioners, yes.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, we go out of our way to make sure that everything is done in public, because that's the way it should be done, and especially something like that that's, you know, so visible, there, undoubtedly. Yep.
I can help paint, provided it's paint by number.
I'll make sure that...
I can bring my own brush, I just need the numbers.
I'll make sure that there's a section on the side that it could be all yours, okay? Right.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
It's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, just keep us up to date, whatever you need.
Well, we will.
So is this something then, since you all approve, you'd be comfortable with us sort of publicizing it and putting it out there to get some ideas from local?
I think everything needs to go through Aaron.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
I think that's the proper way to do it. Yeah. You know, all this looks good and it feels good, and I totally agree with that. But we want to make sure that it's presented the right way, and there's no slants to it and stuff like that, because today there's a lot of motions going on about different things. We certainly have been a township that, you know, you look at our police force and the job they do every day. They certainly present well for what we represent as far as diversity in our community. I certainly wouldn't want somebody to get the wrong impression of what we're doing. That's my personal opinion.
I think the biggest thing with this is, even though it is about equality, like recognizing differences and actually like celebrating those differences too.
Yeah, I got that, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not everybody celebrates everybody's differences.
Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add one thing. Whoever the artist or artists might be, we also would like for them to have their names on this, so that, you know, that they did the work.
I assume that they would, it's part of the deal with an
As long
artist,
as-
I would assume.
Yeah, as long as the first name isn't Jerry.
That'll be the one with the numbers. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, any other citizens' comments, folks?
Real quick question. Light synchronization, where are we with that, Aaron?
Yeah, so for the traffic signal synchronizations on Route 463, Commissioner Andrews, just so everyone is aware of what exactly that is, and Commissioner Andrews was pushing for this project for many years. Township received a grant in 16 for about $1 million to synchronize all the signals on Route 463 from Clemens Road to Township Line Road, heading into Montgomery. Infrastructure's almost completed. I'm told at the end of this calendar year, all the infrastructure will be in. Fiber optic cables will be then run and connected to all of those intersections. Next year is when then the software that the engineers will be using to help synchronize and communicate should go into effect. So we hope to see Cowpath or Villa done in the next few months, and then shortly after that, in early 21, we hope to then see all 11 of those signals synchronized and people moving through our busiest corridor a lot more efficiently.
Thank you.
Thanks to the commissioners for pushing that project over the years.
Thanks to Jerry. He's been pushing it longer than any of us. That's greatly appreciated. All right, any other questions or comments, citizens' comments? All right, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers, second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.